Yes.
Okay. Okay. So like it's a long break. So a lot of like we have all of these vacations, and I think many of you joined yesterday's demo sessions, right? And many of you joined last week demo sessions. So I think if you have any question, like if this is your first class and you missed all of the previous demos, you have not attended. So maybe you can wait once the class is over. Today is the first session, so where we are going to start with the content. And if you have anything that you want to ask related to the course curriculum, please wait once we complete the sessions at the end of the class, or maybe last 10-15 minutes when others will drop. That time you can ask your questions, right? All your queries. Or you can directly reach out to me one to one after you go through the demo recordings, which is available in YouTube. So if you go to YouTube and type full stack data science, you will see a lot of demo recordings are available. So any one of it you can go through. And after that, if you have any questions, you can ask me. Okay. So just a quick summary. So initially when we'll start this session with our Python. So Python is the first part. People who are very beginner to Python, right? Completely new and non-technical background. I think for them, I told one thing. So this week, you spend your time learning Python. So how you will learn Python? Basically, you have to go through my recordings and Durga sir's recording. Right? Once your enrollment is confirmed, we can provide you pre-recorded sessions from the previous class, previous batch. So you please prepare before you come to the class. If you are beginner, in the sense you are completely non-coding background, but if you are from coding background, no need to be Python, like any other language. If you have coded, I think you can understand everything. So you can join every day, and in the class you can understand everything, right? So the first session of this is Python. So Python is kind of two things we will discuss. One is the core Python concept we will discuss. Maybe this week we will focus on core Python, and the next week we will go for advanced Python. So in advanced Python, this is Python for data science modules we're going to cover. In this advanced Python, the first thing we will cover is something called a very important package called NumPy. And after that, we will be covering pandas, right? And then we will discuss about data visualization. That's the next section. So core Python, we will start from scratch. So first thing is Python installation. The Python installation video is also available in YouTube. My class recordings are there. So once your enrollment is confirmed, in the drive, you will find something called software installation folder, right? So inside that software installation folder, if you open it, the recording of the previous class where I have explained how to install Anaconda Python and Jupyter Notebook tutorial is available. So people who joined today newly, please go through the software installation folder available and install the necessary software required. Okay? Today we'll start with core Python. So what all are the topics we'll be covering in core Python? I think in the syllabus you can see the complete details, right? Okay. Coming to the platform. So the first thing is, as I said, most of you already have this Python installed in your system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this Jupyter Notebook console. So this is my Jupyter Notebook. If I click on this, what is Jupyter Notebook? Many of you are new. So Jupyter Notebook is the IDE that I am going to use for this session. Most of the data scientists, they use Jupyter. So it's your choice, absolutely your choice. Whatever IDE you want, you can use it. Atom, VS Code, PyCharm, Spider, you can use any IDE that you want, right? But I will be using Jupyter Notebook. So it's better to know Jupyter Notebook, but you can use whatever you want to use. Right? Okay. So now you can see the home screen. So this is the home folder. The first Python program that I'm going to write, I need a Python notebook. How to open a Python notebook? I'll come here and then I will click on Python 3. So this notebook is something called Python notebook. I will name it so that later I can refer to it. So what name I will give? Any name. Let's say this is my Python Python class, right? This is my Python class or Python notebook. So this is my class notebook. So all of this, whatever we are practicing, all of these notebooks will be shared in Google Drive. No need to type anything in the class. Just listen, keep your doubts, and then you can ask your doubts anywhere if you have any doubts. After 10-15 minutes, when I complete one topic, I will pause myself and give kind of access to you so that you can ask any of your questions if you have any queries. Once we clear all of your queries, once I clear, then we will go to the next topic. So just listen, because if you start typing, a lot of syntactical error or mistake you will do. You have a lot of assignments, you have a lot of coding tests, and you have a lot of notebooks which will be shared. Books, notebook, resources, everything, recordings, everything will be shared in the Google Drive, right? All materials and recordings will be provided. The first thing is anything that you want to install, right? Python is a library enriched language. So can you guys tell me some points why you think Python is very popular? One of the things is it's very easy to understand, right? Ultimately, we are the user. And if something is very easy for us to understand, we will start using it. So Python is very easy to learn. Now, second thing is why it is very famous for data science, because it has a lot of library support. Library support in the sense, let me tell you one small example, right? Most of the people are from non-coding and non-machine learning background. So let me give you one simple example. Let's say one of the algorithm, I'm just showing you, later we will discuss. This is a machine learning algorithm. So ultimately data science, the backbone of data science is math. Nothing but machine learning, deep learning, all of the subjects are full of maths. So let's say this is the algorithm and this is the explanation. This is how it is. So there are 3 steps. And if you want to derive, this is how you will derive. This is a matrix. So I'm not telling you to understand, but I'm telling you why Python is very popular, especially for data science. We have a lot of languages very powerful than Python, like Scala is there, Java is there. But why Python, right? One thing is library support. And why library support is so important? For example, if you see this, what I'm doing here is something, I'm doing some matrix multiplication, right? So I have something, let's say this equation you take. In pen and paper, easily I have written A minus something, let's say I is identity matrix, something I have written. And then if I see this, let's say this is the equation. What is the equation? This is the equation. I have told you this is the equation. Now the next question is how to implement it, how to code it, how to write a code for this. Let's say you don't have any library. What you would have done? You would have written logic or function for average. You would have written logic for all of this complicated covariance formula. Then you could have write the first step, that is covariance, and then you need to find eigenvectors, eigenvalues. So a lot of maths, very high level maths we need. For this, if you are using sklearn, which is a machine learning package, 2 lines of code you will write, just 2 lines. If you want to see how to implement this using machine learning library, which is sklearn, supported by Python, let me tell you sklearn PCA, right? So we will discuss all of this. I'm just showing you an example why Python is so popular, right? So much complicated thing. See how many lines I'm writing. Importing sklearn, from sklearn, I'm importing PCA. And then simply what I'm doing is one single line of code. The highlighted part, whatever I have written, 2 lines, I'm writing and I'm done. I'm not worrying as a data scientist. I'm not a kind of PhD student who is going to write algorithm from scratch. We don't have that much time. We are here to solve business problem. Yes, I will understand what is PCA. I will understand the mathematical derivations. I will understand the logic behind it. But while I'm coding, I no need to write the steps one by one. First covariance matrix, and then all of this eigenvalue, eigenvectors. That things are taken care by sklearn, which is a Python machine learning package. What I am interested is just writing 2 lines of code and getting the output. And then using this in real time, solving business problem. So this is a real time example. And from this, you can understand why Python is so popular. If Python sklearn is not there, you are using Java or Scala, the machine learning library are not so mature, right? Not so mature means a lot of algorithms has not been implemented yet. So you have to write your functions from scratch. It's not like you cannot use any language. It will be time-taking process. You have to write everything from scratch if it is not there. That's why Python is preferred. Having said that, Python is very vast. Do I need to learn everything? Yes. A Python, a programming language, if you know, definitely it will help you to become a good programmer. Having said that, we have a separate syllabus for data science, right? Python is vast. We are not covering the Wave framework like Django, Flask, that is not needed. We are covering the Python for data analysis packages like sklearn. It's a very important package for a data scientist, like Pandas, like NumPy, Plotly. So there are certain packages for a data scientist. These are very, very important. So we are learning Python for data science. But before we go there, some basic Python knowledge we should know. Everyone should know. So let us discuss about that. The first one is, can anyone tell me how to install any package in Python? It's a very common question, so I thought of asking.
Pip install.
Yes, pip install. And it is very straightforward, very easy. From here only you can install directly from Jupyter, or you can go to your Anaconda prompt and type it. Easy thing is from here you can install. Pip install the package name. So most of the time you will be knowing the package that you're installing. Let's say sklearn, right? So just type the package name and then hit run. Run means this triangle symbol, right? So as I said, if you see my Jupyter Notebook tutorial, you can understand Jupyter in a better way. So if you want to execute any code, this run command you can press. Shortcut is shift enter, right? So I have executed. It is already satisfied. Why? Because already installed by Anaconda. Any package you are installing using pip install, where exactly it is storing? Where exactly it is storing? Inside which folder? Inside which folder? Let's say you want to search for this sklearn. You have installed it, but you don't know where it is going. So where exactly it is, you can find it?
Site packages.
Correct. So you can see site packages, right? And from site packages, every package is going and staying there. If you want to do some modification, some configuration file, you want to change something, you can always search for that package inside site packages, right? Already it is installed, that's why, but it's very simple. Pip install the package name will install the package. Okay? Now, once you have installed it, you can import it, right? For example, like sklearn, we have NumPy. So any package first you install and then import. Import means you're loading that package so that you can use the functions and other things present. So let's say I'm importing NumPy. What is NumPy? NumPy is an external package. If your import is successful, it means NumPy exists, means it is there in your system. It is installed properly. I don't know what is there in NumPy. I'm a new user. Lot of functions are there. I want to list down every function, every attribute present inside NumPy. Inside this package, what all things are there? dir method you will call. dir of NumPy. So if you run this dir of NumPy, you can see that we have all of these functions available, right? So we have this argmax. Don't worry about this. We will see later. Just I'm showing you how to list down all the package names present inside all the modules or all the functions present inside a package. dir, directory. Now, once you have seen this dir, let's say you want to understand about a very particular function. Let's say argmax. Or let's take a small, easy example. Let's say you want to understand about what is this any function is doing. Let's say is real, right? What is this is real function is doing? Sorry for the noise. Sometimes you may hear this because my home is very near to station. Okay, so is real, if you want to understand what you will do, so you will write NumPy, the package name, very important, NumPy, the package name dot is and then tab. So all the functions which is present with is will come, right? So you no need to type anything, auto completion. So auto completion is the benefit of using IDE. Not only Jupyter, any IDE you are using, half Python code you can write, rest half it will auto complete. So tab command, if you type, it will auto complete, right? Whatever is there, it will display everything. Now I don't know how to use it. How to take help? Anybody knows how to take help in Jupyter?
Sorry, what was the function to complete it? What was the IntelliSense shortcut?
Sorry, can you please be loud little bit?
So you said there is some shortcut for IntelliSense, right? NumPy dot and we get all the list of functions. What is that? What is that shortcut?
Yes, tab. So tab will autocomplete. For example, is R and then tab. So all of these functions which are present with ISR will be listed down. And dir is the function which will list down all the function name. Right. Okay, so yes. So how to take help? Basically, what I will do is question mark and then run. So it will give you complete description. For example, what exactly it is doing. So it returns a Boolean array where true if input element is real number, right? Otherwise it is false. It is checking whether the numbers that is present inside an array are real numbers or not. Right? And then you can see examples also. If you go down, see this is what is an example. 1 plus 1j, 1 plus 0j, 4.5, 3.2, 3 and all that, right? So you can see for first one it is false. Second one it is true, and then third one it is false, true, 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 and then first one it is false because first one is complex number, right? So this you clearly understand. So you are a new user, you don't know how to check whether a number is real number or not. You have used this function, have seen the examples, and then you can use it yourself. So this is very important. 2-3 points that you should always, you need it, you will use it. So first thing is import, install, import, list down, and then take help, right? Okay. Now these are very basics, nothing related to Python, but these are helpful, right? Now once you have done all of this, the first thing that we are going to understand is how to print anything in Python, right? It's the very first statement we understand. We print hello Python, hello Java when we learn any new language. So how to print anything? What is the command? Printing in Python. Print function. These are very basics, but yes. Simple print function will display whatever you want to print. You can write it within quotation if it is a string. Remember one thing in Python, double quotation, single quotation, both represent string data, string. So let's say I just want to type hello Python. And then if I execute, inside print, I have written hello Python. And when I will execute, I will get hello Python as output. So whatever I want to type, I can type it inside this print function. Let's say I want to print 7 plus 8, right? So you can see that 7 plus 8, I have not written inside quote. So it has taken it as number. And I can see the result, 15, right? So anything that I want to print, I can use print function, print command. Very simple, right? Now, what is a variable? How to write a variable in Python? So who can let me know what is a variable? Any other language, what is a variable?
Value keeps changing. It doesn't hold a constant value.
Okay, in simplest way, can I say that variable is a container, right, which stores value? But actual definition is variable is nothing but it's the reference. It is a memory location which stores the reference which contains the value, right, real value. So let us not go there. In simple term, variable is nothing but it's a basically a storage which contains the value. Right. Okay.
Can we say variable reserved memory?
Yes, we can say that. Okay, let me write in this way. Let's say I'm writing a equals to 5. So we understand in this way, right? So let's say 1024 is the location and this is containing 5 and this is a. Actually, this is not the case. What is happening is this is not a. Maybe this is 1024, which is, okay, let me write it in this way. So there is a memory location and let's say this memory location is, sorry. There is a memory location. Let's say this memory location is 2024 and this is containing the value 5. Now a is another memory location. A is the variable or another memory location. Let's say 1024, which contains the reference, which contains the real value, right? So this is actually a. So a means this, right? Now if I write b equals to 5, so what will happen? So b is another memory location, right? B is another memory location. Let's say this is 3024 or something, right? My pen is not working perfectly down. Let's say this is 3024 and this is containing 5. One second, give me 1 minute. Okay, so now this is containing same 2024. So both are representing the same location. Okay? So a equals to 5, b equals to 5. So 2024, same reference it is containing. So what is a variable in short? If like not making it very complicated, in simple terms, variable is a kind of location or basically memory address, right? Which contains the reference of the real value. Or in summary, in short way, we can say it is a container which stores value. Now, once we understand this in Python, how to declare a variable? It is very easy to declare a variable because we are not defining the data types of the variable. We are just writing the name equals to the value. Now, let's say I'm writing a equals to 5. I'm not writing int a or float a or string a like how I was writing in other languages like Java and Scala, C, C++. When you're defining a variable, you will be writing the data type. Otherwise, it will be error. In Python, variables are dynamically typed. Means what? You just need to assign the values to the variables and you don't need to type the data. You don't need to write the data type. Now let me check what is the type of A. I'm calling a type function which will check the type of a variable. Now I'm just checking the type of A and it is an integer type. Have I defined int anywhere? No. But the interpreter is smart enough to understand this is an integer variable. Now if I change it to float, if I write 5.5, if I run this, you can see this is changing to float. If I, let's say, make it string, right? If I make it string, and then if I run it, the type is changing to string. So based on the value that I'm assigning, interpreter is automatically changing the data type, or it is assigning the data type based on the value that I have assigned. As a user, you are not kind of declaring or defining the data types. Right, very simple, just write the type, just write the values and the name of the variable. This is how you declare a variable in Python. Can I change from one type to another type? Yes, if it is compatible, you can change it. For example, A is 5.5 and it is a string type. I want to convert it to float type. Can I do that? Yes. I will simply write float of A. It has been converted to float. If I write int of A, right, it will be converted to not int. It is showing value error. So this cannot be converted to int because not compatible, but it can be converted to float. So anything which is compatible, you can change it from one type to another type just by writing what type you want to convert. If you write float, it will be converted to float type. If you write int, it will be converted to int type. If you write string, it will be converted to string type, str. This is how I can declare a variable, and type conversion I can do one type to another type. So I will stop here for some time and take doubts. So far, is it clear for everyone? Any questions? My audio is clear, right, to everyone? Because I can see some messages like my audio is not clear. So is it audible? Like everyone, please confirm once.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
It's audible.
Okay.
So you said that we'll have to install Python first. Why don't we use Google Colab? So all the we can run it in that IDE, right?
Yes, you can use Google Colab, but ultimately that's a cloud platform. So it's a restriction in timing. If you see the documentation properly, like weekly, I did not exactly remember, but there is a restriction. So it's better if you install Jupyter in local system. But if your system is not supporting, let's say you have very less memory, like 4 GB or something, then you can use Google Colab because it is giving you 12 GB RAM with GPU support free of cost. But it's not like unlimited usage, right? You have some limitation on timing. But I think every day if you use 2-3 hours, that's okay. Like you can go ahead. So that is ultimately using Jupyter Notebook behind the scene.
So for deep learning, if we go by our local machine, the CPU would be very slow, right? If we install.
Depends on your system. Like I have a 16 GB with GPU support. So I am local system. So depending on your system configuration, if you don't have GPU support, and if you have very less memory, 8 GB or something, then I think Google Colab will be a better option.
Right. Okay.
Any other questions? We're all good till here, especially people for whom today is the first class. Are you getting? Yes. One doubt you may have, that is, what is this IDE? What I'm doing here, right? If you are completely beginner, so first prerequisite is please go through this Jupyter Notebook tutorial. I will send you the link today in the chat window, right? The video is freely available in YouTube, my previous batch. So it is uploaded in YouTube. I will share the link for software installation plus Jupyter Notebook. So I think except Jupyter Notebook usage, is the Python concepts are clear? Any questions? Okay, I can see some of the questions. So I'm taking this, though this is not related to Python, but one of the question is, OOPS concept is required for data science or not? See, if you know Python in a very expert level, you will be a good programmer. Having said that, OOPS concept, you can prioritize later. So basically that is not your topmost priority right now to learn. Topmost priority is core Python, and then you should learn pandas, NumPy, Plotly, sklearn, Keras, TensorFlow, NLP packages. All of this you complete first. Once this track is finished, then you can go for extra Python modules like OOPS concept, modules, packages, and all. So I think if you are, your goal is 6 months. So because why I'm saying, because in the interview, nobody is going to ask you questions from OOPS, but people will ask you questions from other modules like data science modules. So first you prepare for interview, and then definitely once you complete all of the necessary important modules, if you have extra time, then you can learn other Python modules like OOPS and all. So this is saying that is not important, but if you prioritize, that is coming last. First you learn what is very important, and then you can learn what is good to have skill. Yeah, go ahead.
So I have a questions, ma'am, actually. So in this, actually, in the 2.5 months, what you included? I mean, what is the course structure for that? Because I joined late, sorry for that.
No problem. So that's what. So anyone who joined little late and missed the demo sessions, please wait. Once the class is over, I will share the link for the previous class, right? Where
Okay, great.
in this demo, yes. And then you can go through that. Maybe you can forward it, or wherever you want, you can see only those parts. Everything is clearly mentioned. The course syllabus, the content, the scope of this course, lot of other data science related topics, like what is data science, data engineering, what is artificial intelligence, what is the difference, use cases, a lot of things I have discussed. So I will share the link in the chat window. Right?
Sure. Thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, hello.
Yes.
Ma'am, this session is a demo session because I have requested for a demo session for today, but I am not understanding because I have applied for the demo session for data science. So I am not understanding because
Yeah.
this is actually an initial class for Python.
No, demo sessions are not initial class for Python. Demo sessions are basically to get information about the codes, about the domain, like what is data science, what is artificial intelligence, what will be covered, what is the scope, everything, right? So that link I will share in the chat window. So
Okay, after we complete this session, right?
yes, after this session, I will share in the chat window. Give me some
Okay.
minutes.
So once
I will share. Yeah.
Once I take the package, then only we'll be starting the Python classes, right? This is not the starting of the Python classes.
No, I think, are you from a complete non-coding background?
Yes, and I have just spoken to a number which was given on YouTube. So they have sent
Got
me a
it.
link on WhatsApp, and I have joined the meeting today to.
No problem. So see, what I will tell you is people who are completely new to Python programming and completely from non-coding background, honestly, they need some extra hard work to understand the programming basics first. Like what is a variable they need to understand, what is a function they need to understand. Then they will understand the syntax, how to write. So for them, I have a special material which says the keywords, and then I can actually give you a list of keywords that you need to at least Google before coming to the class. For example, variable. What is a variable? What is an object? What is a class? So that I think is available in the Google Drive. But what I will do is tomorrow's session, I will share that. So all the non-programmers, at least you can prepare before you come. And also one more help we can do, that is share the pre-recorded session. Today I'm going to teach variable and all these topics. Before you join the class, please see the previous batch recording once, so that 30-40% you will understand, and then you attend today's class. Then 100% you will understand. And put extra hours learning Python by yourself.
Sure, ma'am.
Class hours. Right? Okay. So I think please wait for some more time and we'll discuss the materials, the course, curriculum, demo session, Jupyter, everything I will share in the chat window. Okay, coming to this variable concept, once we understood this, next thing that we will understand is basically we will understand about loops concept, right? Maybe we will start with a simple one. Let's say if else loop, we will see how to write it in Python, right? So these are very simple concepts. Already you have done it in other languages. So anyone can tell me, or maybe we can start with while loop, let's say, right? Or if else loop. So if I take if else loop, so what is the concept of if and else? So if I have to check multiple condition, right? Then I can write this if and else loop. So what is the syntax? So for example, I'm checking the first condition. If, very simple condition, let's say 5 is greater than 4. Right? And then what I'm doing is, if this is true, I'm printing something. Let's see, I am. So one thing you can notice, everybody understand the concept of if, but the way I'm writing here is different. The syntax is different. So in Python, we don't have curly braces. In other languages, we have curly braces, right, for the body part. Here, indentation is very important. What do you mean by indentation? So first line, I have written the condition. Second line, if I start from here, is it okay? Answer is no. You will get this error, indentation error, expected and indented block. So what it means, any block you are writing, if block, else block, while loop, for loop, function, anything that you are writing, before you write that block, you need to give some space. How much space? Totally user dependent. 1 tab, 2 tab, how much space you want, you can give. All the body part you should write in the same level. Let's say I am writing one more sentence. Let's say this is I am in second statement, right? So let's say this is one more sentence I'm just printing. So you can see I can see the output. But if I will not give proper indentation, if I run it, again I will get error. Unindent does not match any outer indentation level. Why this is happening? Because the second print is not below the first print. All the bodies should be in the same level, right? So this, you no need to worry. This IDE will take care of it. You just focus on writing code wherever space is required. Automatically IDE will give some space. The spacing thing will be taken care by Jupyter Notebook. Right, so for example, here what I'm doing is just I'm writing this and enter. See what is happening. When I'm pressing enter, automatically it is giving some space. So wherever I'm writing a colon, it indicates it's a starting of a block. So wherever there is a starting of block, Jupyter will give some space. Right, so this is one thing you need to understand. So indentation is mandatory. And indentation is something which will help you to differentiate between body part and the header part. Okay. Now, when I'm writing this, so this is one if statement. If this is true, then I'm printing this. Let's say I'm just writing a code and you tell me what will be the output. One more condition I'm checking. Let's say elif. So 2 condition, 3 condition, if you want to check, you can write elif, elif, and elif. So it's not else if in Python, it is elif. I'm checking one more condition. Let's say 6 is greater than 4, right? Let's say this is 5 is greater than 14. And then let's say this is 6 is greater than 5, right? Or let it be like this. And then I'm printing I am inside. I'm printing, right? I am in elif. Now, can anybody tell me the output of this code?
Same as the first one, like I am in if, I am in second statement. Only the first condition output will come. I mean,
Yes, only the first condition or the first loop will only execute. Right? The second loop, even though the condition is true, it will not execute. So what is the logic? The logic is you check the condition, wherever it is true, execute that block and come out of the loop. So here it will check the if condition. Is it true or false? True. So it will enter inside if, it will print the results, and then it will come out of this. It will not go for elif. When it will come to elif, if the if condition is false, right? If the if condition is false, then only it will come. So now it is false. If I run this, I will get elif. Because it is false, it came to elif. So the logic is keep executing. Wherever it is true, it will enter into the loop and come out. If that condition is false, it will go to the next loop. Let's say I'm writing one more. Let's say I'm writing else print I am in else. Now, can you tell me what will be the output?
I am in elif.
I am in elif, right? Why this else will not be executed?
Because elif is true. The elif condition is true. So it is printing only the I am in elif. I mean, that's
Correct. So as the logic says, wherever it is true, it will execute that block and it will come out. Nothing is true, then only else will execute. Right? If nothing is true, let's say here both of these conditions are false. So finally else will be executed. But if any of this loop is true, it will not come to else block. It will execute that block and come out of the loop. Right? So this is your if else statement, how to write it in Python. Right? Variable and if else statement. Okay, so I just want to pause here today because many of you are very new. And I found that many of you are also not having any idea about the codes and other details. So what I'm going to do is in give me 2 minutes, I'm going to share the link of everything which is already there in YouTube so that you can refer before you come tomorrow's class, right? At least it will be helpful if you at least see the Jupyter Notebook tutorial and come so that you will be very much comfortable. and also install Python in your system using Anaconda. So in the meantime, any other questions basically related to Python you can ask. Related to the demo, we will discuss later. In today's class, any questions related to the technical things that we have discussed? Is it clear? People who are having a Python background, I think for them these are very simple topics, I know, but wait for some time as this is a very beginner class. We cannot jump directly into advanced, right? So we'll go there slowly, we will go step by step, right? So, okay. So there are a lot of sessions you can see. Full stack data science, if you type, you will get a lot of sessions available in YouTube, right? So you need to type full stack data science Durgasoft session 2. Session 2 is the link for Jupyter Notebook. Let me search, am I getting it or not? Lot of demos are there, so it is somewhere. Okay, so what I will do is, the better thing is I will tell ma'am to send you the link, everyone, whoever has joined, to them, ma'am will send you the link. So there are a lot of links for demo, but for Jupyter Notebook, the session link exactly I'm not getting. So maybe ma'am can share with you, right? I'm just sharing any one of the link for you to see. So let's say this link, give me 1 minute, let me share it. So there are a lot of demos actually. So this is one of them. So you can go to YouTube and then type full stack data science Durgasoft, right? If you type full stack data science Durgasoft, you will get a lot of demo links. Any one of that you can watch, right? And then if you have any queries, definitely you can ask me. Right? Coming to the Jupyter Notebook and the Anaconda installation, YouTube, it was there, but now I'm not getting it, the exact link. So ma'am will send you maybe through email, right? Whoever registered. Or once your enrollment is done, you will find it inside software installation folder in the drive. But I will tell ma'am to send you. Okay. Any other questions? We are all good. How many of you are completely non-coding background? I just wanted to know. Completely non-coding background. Nitika, right? Yeah, you are from. And others, Avinash. Yeah.
Am I also?
Vishal, okay.
I'm
Yeah,
also, ma'am.
me too.
Tarun.
Ram.
Ram, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ma'am, Tarun.
Hi.
I'm also from non-coding background.
Okay, okay. Got it. So
I
there
mean, this course, we will apply an end-to-end project, or we will just use machine learning tools only?
No. We will apply end-to-end projects. So there are a lot of things we will learn. There are 15 plus projects we will do. So there are 15 projects end-to-end we will implement. Only thing is, if you are non-coding background, I think initial first week, okay, so whoever is, I have noted down 4 to 5 people. I will tell ma'am, once your enrollment is confirmed, you will be getting pre-recorded sessions from previous classes, right? And Durga sir's recordings also immediately will be given. So what help you will get is, like, from those recordings, you can prepare for the class before you coming. So I'm not worrying for machine learning and statistics because that is math, everybody will understand. But for Python, you need at least some knowledge before, because it's not a Python class, right? We cannot go to very, very initial level and start. Even though you're joining Python class, I think they will not teach you the programming basics, like what is variable, what is function, what is, they will just teach you the syntax. So these topics like object and then what is class, these things, I think little extra effort you need to give to understand the basics first about programming, not about Python, about programming basics. What is high level programming? What is low level? What is a compiler? What is an interpreter? What is Python? What is object? What is class? What is variable? All of these keywords, I have a list of keywords that I will be sharing a document. And then once you go through that, I think everything you will understand and attend the class. But before attending, go through the recorded sessions. Then 100% you can understand. Right? Others are you getting from programming background who are you getting whatever we are covering today?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
ma'am.
So if you're from programming background,
Yes, ma'am.
very simple things for you. But for non-programming, little complicated you may face.
And what is the time period for this course, sir? Like for the complete course?
Time period is basically, it is almost like 40 to 45 hours. Plus we have 20 hours of recorded sessions. Like I think I have told in the demo sessions, like we have Tableau, we have Big Data Apache Spark, and then we have PCA, we have Seaborn, Matplotlib, and time series. These are the recorded session. Again, you will get it in the first week of your enrollment. So you have whole like 2.5 months or 2 months of time where you can practice all of these recorded sessions. Though it is recorded, but I am always there. So I can arrange extra classes maybe on weekends for the topics which has been given as recorded session. Any doubt you can ask. In the live class, what we will cover, basically core Python, advanced Python, machine learning, deep learning, and NLP. These are the major topics. And in
Excuse me, ma'am.
yes,
Ma'am, how we will manage plus daily classes and plus recording also? Then how we will manage, ma'am, these both things together?
I cannot answer you that, Vishal. So you need to manage like how I am managing taking classes, working full time, and having kids. So you
Yes. Yeah.
So that answer, nobody can tell you how to manage. We have to manage because we want something in life, right? But yes,
Ma'am, how long will be the recording classes? Like how many hours it will be? Like one class?
class will be 1 hour class only. So let us discuss. I am okay. I just don't want to be in a hurry and finish. If you want, let's say alternate day class and meet some time, not regular classes. Let's say weekly 4 times we can connect and 3 times you can take off. That is fine. Very good. So if you need breaks, because what I felt is when machine learning will start, a lot of assignment projects, you need some time. So if you need alternate day class, let's say Monday, Tuesday you want break, and then Wednesday, Thursday you want break, and then Friday, right? So that any time like 9 p.m. is comfortable timing. Days we can like 4 days we can connect instead of 5 days, right? And that does not mean the course will finish or just it will extend it some more time. Let's say here it is completing 2 months in 5 days. If we join 4 days, it will complete in 2.5 months or 3 months, like that. So the timing will be extended, but you will be benefited because you will get time to practice and everything. So you can tell if it is okay for everyone, we can connect 4 days a week. But if you can manage in the sense, it's not like a lot of time, but at least if you can give 1 or 2 hours every day, I think you will able to complete the assignments. And you have weekends also, 2 days, right?
So whenever we are connecting, that is also getting recorded, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
that if we get
Yes,
miss
correct.
and we can learn it right later.
Yes. So everything is recorded. So today's class also it's recorded. From day 1, you will get all the recorded session. So from all of the feedbacks that I have received, because this topic's a little complicated, what I am planning from this new batch is basically Monday to Thursday will be good for everyone. And let's take Friday, Saturday, Sunday for practice. So you will have a lot of assignments, whatever we have covered. And then, so Saturday, Sunday, and Friday are doubt clearing sessions. Basically, if you have any doubts, let me know. We will arrange classes and we'll discuss. Let's say you have practiced some assignments, some projects. It's not like you cannot ask in the live class. Definitely you can ask. But what I'm saying is from the assignment, from the project, or from the recorded sessions, you have some doubts that you want to clear. We can join on weekends, Saturday, Sundays. But 3 days off.
Okay, ma'am, this we will apply after 1 month or we will apply this thing at starting of the lecture?
No, from starting of the lecture only, we will apply because many of you are from non-coding background. You also need
Yes.
something to practice.
Yes, ma'am.
I can complete the syllabus. I can go ahead with the new batch. That is good for me, but it's not good for you, right? Because when we start ML, machine learning, 5 days, I think 2 days you can, I mean, if you utilize those 2 days, that is okay. But if you have gone some outing or vacation on weekends, when you join on Monday, a lot of things you will not be able to practice. So that's the problem I think previous students has requested. So I think based on their request, I think Monday to Thursday will be good. In 3 days you take off. Right? I think that is
Yes,
okay.
madam, that will be good. I think 4 days and 3 days off.
Yes. So 3 days is enough. Now don't tell me how to manage in 3 days. It's your kind of, you have to manage. 3
Yeah,
days,
ma'am.
3 day if you practice 2 hours, I think
Yes, ma'am.
everything that we covered in 4 days will be completed in 3 days. Because holiday, right? Saturday, Sunday, no office. So I think that model, that this is good. So 3-4 days we will connect and 3 days you practice. And also those 3 days we can arrange extra classes based on your need. If you need some doubt clearing sessions, not everyone, maybe most of majority of you, let's say one topic is doubt. Let's say this particular topic is a doubt and that is a doubt for majority of the classes. Then people who has doubt, they can join. Others can drop. If you understand, no need to join. If you have doubt, maybe that particular topic I can discuss in the weekends. So that is subject to kind of your requirement, but 3 days you take time for practice. Okay, so I think this is all about this and we will continue tomorrow onwards. And tomorrow what I will do is I will share a document for non-coders, right? Please go through those documents and go through Durga sir and my recording before you join, at least for Python, right? To get 100% clear covering.
One last question. Do we have lifetime access to all these recordings?
I think lifetime access is not there, but I think after the course is completed, 6 months access will be there, 6 to 7 months.
And I have another small request, like I want a little bit advanced topics like transformers and multilingual models also. So do you have any recordings for that if it can be shared?
Yes, so you can connect with me. We have advanced batch which was running, specialization batch. I can share a recording of that batch with you. So you can connect with me, Aarti.
Sure, I'll do that.
So, right? You have the number, Bhavani ma'am's, right? You can call her. She will connect.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Ma'am, when is the new batch starting, ma'am? Like after this?
This is the new batch and new batch will start morning. Maybe the mid of November or end of November will start new batch, morning time. Evening time is kind of occupied. So your batch is already started. So it will go for 2.5 months. So evening batch is not going to start. This is the batch. Morning, there will be one more batch, 7 to 8. And mid of November or end of November will start mostly. Not mid, maybe last.
Ma'am,
what about this batch? When did
ma'am,
this
our
batch
batch
start?
will be at evening time, no?
Yes, yes, this is the timing, 9 to 10. 9
Okay, ma'am.
to Thursday.
And this was a new batch or already some sessions are over?
No. This is just the demo sessions are over and Jupyter Notebook and software installation is over. This is the Python class, first Python class.
Ma'am, is this 2 months enough for full stack data science course? Because there are so many things we have to learn. Within 2 months, we can cover it all.
I think let it go. 1 second, give me 1 minute. Yeah, so I think if you have seen my yesterday's demo, you have attended this demo, Tarun? You missed it, right? Sunday.
Yeah, ma'am. This is my first class only.
Yes. So because I answered all of this in last demo session, so nothing is sufficient in data science. Even we are learning after working 7-8 years, right? So nothing is sufficient in artificial intelligence. Always there will be a learning curve. Having said that, the scope of this course is to kind of help you to crack interviews, which is required for 2 to 3 years experience level of data science, like data scientist positions. Those kind of interviews you can crack with this course. Having said that, this is not the end of data science syllabus, right? Actually, there is no end to data science syllabus. Like there is always, I'll give you one example. Let's say you know Python and everything, all the Python. Now, OOPS concept. Yes, that is good to learn. You know Python, everything, you're expert. Let's say you are expert in Python. I will suggest you to learn Scala because Spark native language is Scala, right? So if you learn Scala, then I'll suggest you Spark. You learn Spark, completed. I'll suggest you Hadoop. You know that, I will suggest you Cloud. You know that, then I'll suggest you Plotly. No Plotly, Tableau. Tableau's MicroStrategy. No TensorFlow, learn something else. So there's always something new to learn. There is nothing called end to syllabus. Having said that, interview like whatever is necessary, right? And in the JD, your profile will never match 100%. In AI, no matter how talented you are, 100% you will never match with the JD. 70-80% if it is matching, then you are a good fit, right? So what is prioritizing? Prioritizing means how to crack interviews, how to get jobs. So once you get into jobs, there will be a lot of opportunities. So from real-time industry data, you can learn a lot of things and you can grow in one line. Nobody can be expert in everything. So once you work as a data scientist for 2-3 years, you can pick one domain and grow in that. For example, my domain is NLP, right? So I will grow in NLP after working as a data scientist for 2-3 years. I cannot be expert in computer vision, cannot be expert in cloud, big data, plus machine learning, plus time series, plus computer vision, plus NLP. I'm a human being, right? So I know everything, something about everything I know, but I'm expert in something. What is my expertise area? That is NLP, right? So when I apply for senior position like staff data scientist, senior data scientist, my expert area is NLP, but I know everything, other things little. So that is how data science kind of field you should grow, right? So there is nothing called end of syllabus or end of learning curve. First, as a junior level position, you learn everything, something about everything little you know. Then you select one domain based on what company is giving you opportunity or what is your interest, and then grow and expertise yourself in that particular area. Are you getting? So that is the way you should go. So, I mean, sorry to give you a long answer, but I think I already told about this in yesterday's demo. So
And what if we want to join in this batch? Like what all sessions we need to complete and
if you
do
want
we proceed further?
this batch, the first thing is this batch is already, demo sessions are over for this batch. This batch we will start with content now. So you attend 2-3 classes and then confirm your enrollment, take the recordings. If you are completely non-programming background, my suggestion is people has worked in programming background much before than you. They have worked 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, Java, C++ and all that. You're completely beginner, right? So you are from a completely different background. So what I will suggest you is first you take the recordings and as I said, go through the prerequisite, right? So what is the important thing? One thing is install Python using Anaconda. Jupyter Notebook tutorial you need to understand, and then you go through the recordings of my class or Durga sir's class before you join. Then you will 100% you will understand. Otherwise, no matter me or anybody else, right? Anybody, whenever you join any data science class, nobody will teach Python from scratch because their syllabus is different. So even you're joining a Python class, people will teach you the syntax. They will not teach you the logic of programming. People are not going to teach you what is high level, low level, interpreter, object, class. They will tell you how to do it in Python. So that is something which you need to complete. That's a prerequisite before you join for the non-programmers. If you are from programming background, I think 100% you can understand everything, whatever we're covering in the class, right?
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, as this is the marriage seasons, if we took any 1 week leave, if we cannot attend the classes for 1 week, can we attend in the next batch, or is anything there for us?
See, we normally don't recommend to continue in other batches because it's a headache for the institute, right? A lot of things will happen, like sometimes we change the course, sometimes materials are different, and sometimes the timings will be different. So a lot of constraints are there. We don't encourage. Having said that, if you have some medical emergency or something, you have to write an email, right? Saying that because of this reason, I'm not able to continue and maybe I'll continue next batch. So when you are planning to join next batch, show that email. You show that email, we may consider.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
When you are providing your Python previous batch recordings?
I will tell ma'am, whoever is enrolled, they will be in access soon, maybe within 1 or 2 days.
Okay, thank you.
Today it is very late. Tomorrow definitely you'll get it.
Ma'am, actually, I was planning to enroll today, but no one is answering for me.
I will, ma'am, she will reach out to you. Vishal, right?
Yeah, Vishal. And also one of my friend is doing Nitin. He has
Nitin.
not received a link.
Sure. I will update Vishal and Nitin. I will update ma'am. She will be getting back to you.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Tomorrow we'll continue, right?
Yes, Shashmita.
Yeah, Ramurthy. Last question I can take from you.
Yeah. What are the default libraries comes with the Jupyter Notebook?
It is not Jupyter, but it is with Anaconda. You can get default libraries. Yeah, lot of libraries you will get. Like SQL and all of these things will be installed.
Yeah, already you wrote a statement, na pip install. Is it required?
No, if a package is already there, you don't need to install it. If it is not there, you can use it to install.
Okay, from where it will be downloaded? Is there any central repository?
For this installation, PyPy, so Python package index. So it's an open source language, right? So there's a central body who is controlling all of these packages and all. So it will be installed. So pip install will be the command to install any Python package. And Anaconda, if you're using, lot of packages will be installed. I think lot of people have doubt in Anaconda and Jupyter Notebook tutorial. Yeah. So, okay, what I will do is maybe I will tell ma'am to upload again in YouTube so that I can share the link, right? In the meantime, you can also find it inside the drive, but I will share the link maybe tomorrow, YouTube link, right? Or in YouTube, you simply type Jupyter Notebook tutorial, lot of other materials also you will get from other sources and Anaconda installation. These two things, please do it. This is prerequisite. So you have to install Python first and then understand about the notebook that we are using before you join, right?
Okay.
That we have seen in the last Wednesday or Thursday class.
Okay, Ji.
Okay, thank you everyone. We'll connect tomorrow, right?
Thank you, ma'am.